Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage and today we're going to be looking at Ethereum. Before we jump to that, just want to say thanks for watching. If you're enjoying the content, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you are new to the channel, and turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video. Okay, so at the moment we're still looking for further evidence. We're in a bigger five-wave move here where we're looking at this potentially as extending out as 1 2 1 2 1 2, and then effectively we would be looking for another 1 2 here. The problem is, the probability becomes less and less the more that we just fail to actually break out here. What we'd want to see is a nice strong move to the upside for confirmation of this. We're talking about this in the previous video. The fact that this developed within this channel like this is worrying me slightly, in the fact that potentially this whole move could be an A, a B, and then we start to see something like this play out to the downside for a C wave as a bigger flat correction here, and then actually look to come back down and challenge some of these lower key support areas. So we talked about these as well. We've got the 1643 lower down here to this 1458. So this would be a zone that I'd be looking for as a flat that we could potentially come and move back into and retest. So we need to just be aware there is still that possibility. We could still see breakdown from this area here, and we could see a move back down into these lower ranges. But for as long as we continue to set these higher lows, we can and higher highs here, we can look for that continuation to the upside. So looking in the shorter term for a move up towards this 2042 area. Basically, that's where we want to be moving up to, looking at this potentially as another 1 2 here, and then looking for, a five-wave move to develop to the upside. However, if this is the case, basically it would actually look to extend past that zone, and we'd actually look to take this 1618 quite easily if this is again another 1 2 here, because by the time we would look to progress to the upside, effectively what we'd be looking for here, if I throw on this 1 to 1, would be potentially move up towards 2156 if this is another 1 2 here, and then we're looking for push up. So that would then cause these waves to start extending out here. And like we talked about previously, the higher target that we're looking for is all the way up here at this 2465, and that's looking at this as a 1 2. So extending out like this would increase the probability that we're going to see this move actually extend into these zones. But obviously, we do have, we've got some big zones ahead of us as well. That's these orange lines here. Basically, these are zones I'm looking out for on the way up. It's 2030, 2088, 2000, and 2159. Looking towards these zones to see how we react if we do push up into these areas. Okay, so what do we need to happen here for this third wave to be playing out? So this yellow third wave here. So I'm going to just turn everything off here so it's less busy. And basically what we were talking about yesterday is looking for this as a fourth wave. So, technically speaking, it's still possible that this could be a fourth, but the way that it's come down now, and it's taken quite a long period in comparison to this, about 5 times the length of this wave 2 in time. So, I mean, it is viable that we could still say that we have a fifth wave to the upside, but looking at the internals of this count, I've decided to look at it slightly differently. And we were talking about this briefly, that we could also view this move in this manner, where this is 1 2 3. We have a zigzag here for fourth, and then we have this fifth actually completed. So, what I'm looking for here then is, the potential of holding this lower support zone here, which would be this 1850 to this 1799. So this is valid still for as long as we hold this 1762. As long as we hold that 1762, we can still look for that potential that, we could see a move back to the upside here. So looking at the current structure, I wouldn't say that it's completed. I do think that potentially we're going to see something like this play out, where we look at this, potentially as a move down towards this 1792 range, which would be a 1 to 1 if this was a W and X, and then looking for this Y wave here. So there is a couple of ways of looking at this, and I'm just being a bit cautious, because we are talking about that possibility that we could have a zigzag completed up, and then, this is a high point of a C wave, and then we could be looking at, a bigger move to the downside. So we'll discuss that in a second. But basically, if as long as we hold this 1799 region, we can look for this possibility to actually push up again. So what I'm looking for here, like I said, is looking for that possibility that either this WXY it is incomplete and we're going to look to push down here, or alternatively, there is something else going on. We could still be within the X wave. So this is something I haven't ruled out either, because I am looking at this potentially as a triangle here for this X wave, but we could also argue that within this we have something like this, where this is A, this is B, and we could see a C wave to the upside, something like this. So we have actually, I just want to check this. Let's throw on the regular. So we actually came down to this this 1.382 lower down here. So this is a typical area that the B waves look to travel if they're going to be expanding. Well, if they're going to be irregular flats. So I'm keeping an eye on the possibility of having a five-wave move to the upside here, which is just a C wave. So we can see how the channel currently is just drawn off of these two bottoms here and then this high. But this could actually change in time. We could look to actually see this move do something like this. This would be the first confirmation I'd be looking for the potential of actually a breakout to the upside. But then we need to just be cautious in this zone here of this 1923 to this 1887. So an important zone here, if we're looking at this as a flat, would be this 1618, which would actually be up here into this 1888 region. So if we see a five-wave move play out to the upside here, we're going to have to wait for the confirmation where we see one, two, three, up into these highs, four, five, something like this. What we need to do, if we are looking for that trend continuation, we need to see a three-wave move down, finding support above this low, and then look for that progression up. If we just form a single five-wave move up here, we could have this as a flat correction, in which case that X wave, I would be looking at this rather than as the X wave potential here. And, we could look to actually push down one more time in this Y wave. It is also, however, possible, like I said, this is a we can count this as a triangle within here. So it could also be possible that we have this move just actually play out like this rather, A, B, C, and then we look to push down back into these zones. So these are going to be some key fib areas. If we do look to push down here, we've already come down to the 50%. The 618, the golden pocket over here, sitting at this 1829 to this 1823, and then we've got that 786 lower down here towards the 1799 region. Obviously, the 0.618 would be quite an interesting one. It would be a retest of these highs here. We have technically come into the zone of the wicks already and retested this high. No, we haven't quite retested it. But yeah, I mean, it would be an interesting area to see how we get a reaction off of. But yeah, I haven't ruled out the fact that this could get a little bit more complex here. See a three-wave or a five-wave move up here and then get to rejection down and then potentially look for this Y wave. It is also possible that if this is a flat, it might not end up being a expanding flat. We could see something like this where we get a running flat, which brings us back into this channel, and then we get that additional leg to the downside in this Y wave. So this is looking out for that potential. We could look to actually have another drop here, and these would be the key zones. What we'd want to see basically after, if we're looking for this impulsive move here, we want to see this corrective move complete into this zone, and then we want to see a move back above these highs. For as long as we fail to take these, we have a more bearish scenario as well. And, as long as we don't break above this 1923 range, we have to be aware that there is always that potential we could start to become a bigger corrective move to the downside, or in the more bearish count, a potential five-wave move. So really what we want to do is, once this completes, if we find support in this zone, what we want to see is a nice strong move to the upside. And we want to see this move taking us up towards this zone of this 2156 range. And that would be looking for this as an additional one, two, three, four, and then looking for that fifth wave to the upside. So that would then look to push us up past that zone of the yellow wave 3 location, which would be this 2042. So basically, this internal count here would actually look to push us out. So this would then become one, two, one, potentially two. Then we'd see this bigger third wave here, fourth wave, fifth wave, additional fourth wave, fifth wave like this. and then basically that could then look to push us up into that zone that we need to be for this to be a 1-2, another 1-2 over here, and that target zone that we're looking for that effectively is up here towards this zone of this 2092. So we can see how this would slowly build up into this zone. So this is why I'm looking at it. It is possible. So as long as we hold this zone of this 1762, we can look for this continuation. If, however, we lose that, um, what we need to be careful of is the idea of that bigger flat correction. Like I said, it's still something we just need to keep an eye on, because we have basically a three-wave move up here, and I'm keeping an eye on the fact that we could see something like this play out, where we see this play out as a bigger C wave. The targets for this would be the 1-to-1 of the A would actually be an interesting one, which would be the 1775 over here. We do also have these lower targets here, the 1739, 1717, and the 1682. So the 1682 would be an interesting one that would be coming in back into this A wave location again. The alternative would be looking at this move in this manner, where we project this to the downside, and then this 1618 would actually be an alternate target towards this zone of this 1596. So we'll have to see how this plays out. But basically, the idea is I'm just looking out for that possibility that within this flat correction, we could be starting, a bigger move to the downside here. So I was looking at this in this manner yesterday. Um, Looking at the internals though, because of the fact we have a triangle here, we do cross this wave one, but it is possible we haven't moved past this 1618. So it's possible that either we're starting to extend out where we have additional 1-2 here, which is only confirmed by a deeper move past this zone of this 1782, or alternatively, we could have something like this playing out, where if I just take this back off here, we could see something like this, where actually this is a 3, this is a 4, and this is a 5 here. And then basically we have just a 5-wave move that hasn't reached that 1618, where this wave 3 hasn't achieved 1618 of that wave 1. And then we look for a 3-wave move to the upside. So it's going to be the same idea here. Potentially, if if we fail if we fail to actually break back above this zone here, this 1891, something like this, 1891 to this 1920, and we only get a 3-wave move up here, A, B, and C, something like this. What we could be setting up for is just a bigger one. This becomes a bigger 1, 2, and then we look for a push to the downside. Alternatively, this could be a an A, B, and a C as well. This is something we can't rule out. So we'll have to watch this. If we do get a 3-wave move up here, we'll start to have some better target zones. But at the moment, I'm just keeping an eye. I don't either this, if we wanted to look at this in this manner, either we would still be within this wave 3, and actually, this is looking to come down deeper here, and potentially we are looking for, a deeper move. Just want to see something. Yeah, so 1618 is lower down here towards this 1821. So this is basically looking for that possibility of that additional 1 and 2 in there. We'd have to move down quite deep here. So this is what we're going to have to keep an eye on. For as long as we stay below these lows and we still continue to form what looks to be 5-wave moves down, you need to just be careful it doesn't extend out. This could become a 1-2. This could become another 1 and a 2 here. And then next thing you know, we start to break down deeper, where, like I said, we form this as a wave 1 down, come back up for a 2, fail to break this high, get a third, fourth, and a fifth, and then all of a sudden now we're in that zone where we can start counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then another 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, and this would actually look to bring us down in that C wave in that target zone. So we're gonna have to give it a bit of space here. Potentially we could see this still actually develop out into a 5-wave move. Gonna have to give it a bit of time and see how we react to these key zones. But this is definitely going to be a key one. We failed to get back above 1920. I would be starting to look out more for that idea that we could actually be looking for this bigger flat to the downside. But like I said, we need to be cautious because we could be starting to see some extensions within these waves, and we could actually see some of these targets. This 1836 will be a very interesting one because this is 0.618 actually of this A wave. This is the minimum that we would look for a running flat. So if we do move into here, um, and then we progress up in a much bigger way. We need to be just careful that this hasn't actually just been a running flat in here. It's hard to analyze these in real time because you only really get confirmation above this B wave here, but there are also other ways of interpreting this move down. So we'll have to just see how it plays out. But the thing I'm just being cautious of is if we do, it's also dangerous to try and say that these are complete too soon because if we get a move down here again and we come into this 1836, potentially this could then become a one, come back up, face rejection, get 3, 4, and then 5, something like this to play out to the downside. Once we have more information, obviously I'll chart it out correctly, but this is what we're looking out for. These target zones are going to be key. If we did form something like this, rather than it would be less likely that this is another 1 and a 2 here. We'd have to say that, potentially this is a 5-wave move completed into this high, and then this could then become a 1, 2, and then we look to progress up in a bigger way here. So confirmation, if we have something like that play out, would only be really. So I'm going to just say we come down to the 1682 because it would make a lot of sense to me to come down to that zone, but sometimes we don't do that. But basically, we'd have to see a move above 2730 for confirmation if this is a 1 and a 2 as a flat. Um, I would be looking out towards this 2269 in case there's some other kind of crazy structure going on here that really isn't on the cards yet. That isn't making sense. But really, for confirmation of an impulse, we'd need to move up higher towards this 2730 area. So, these bullish breakouts are possible still, but this move here is very corrective in the way that it's forming. It has bullish potential, but really it needs to start proving itself. Because if this is a 1-2, 1-2, and then we're starting that bigger third wave of a third wave of a third wave, um, basically, this needs to be strong, lots of volume, really start moving to the upside. The more that it doesn't, and we just drag sideways, the more likely it is that we're forming some kind of a bigger corrective structure here. So that's what we're going to have to keep an eye on. Obviously, we still got our key pivot levels that we are looking for here. The higher one is this 1722 to the 1657, lower one here, the 1643 to this 1458 range. And then finally, if this does still break down, because we have talked about this, we could also potentially argue it's a 5-wave move here. That has completed, we could still see this possibility of looking to break down into this zone of this 1406 to this 1206 range. So still got to keep these ideas in mind just in case we do start to break down here. Obviously, there is also that potential that this is just a triangle here. A, B, C, get a wave to the downside. Let me remove some of this key support stuff. There we go. We did talk about this quite a while ago, that if we see this move play out here, this is just ABC to the upside. You need to be on the lookout for additional 3-wave move to the downside in a zigzag ABC, and then that potential to see another 3-wave move to the upside as a E wave, and then this could mean that this whole structure here is just a bigger corrective triangle, which would potentially look to be breaking to the downside. And yeah, I mean, like I said before, this part of it I don't really like it. But yeah, gonna have to just keep an eye on it. Basically, if we start to see 3-wave move down from D wave, stays above this low of this zone here, this 1368, and then we see another 3-wave move to the upside, which fails to break above the zone of this 2033 and this 1941. Potentially we can see this still a breakdown to the downside here, and look to continue this move potentially towards the zone of this 723 to this 523 area. So yeah, it really needs to hold these key support zones and get going now if it is going to be looking at this as a bigger impulse. Okay, I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to Discord. Come check it out. It's free to join, as well as that there is affiliate links for both PrimeXBT and BYBIT down there. Both great exchanges that we use on a regular basis. If you do not have an account, using the affiliate link does help support the channel, and we do appreciate it. Everyone, have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.